Hi there, this is Catherine. Thank you so much for turning in to another episode of the Digital Marketing Victories podcast. Before we get into this month's episode, I just want to share with you the ways that you can support the podcast if you're finding the episodes helpful. You can send me a donation at buymeacoffee.com/DMV podcast. Any and all level of donation would be very much appreciated. Help me offset the cost of producing the podcast. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter so that you don't miss a future episode or any other news about the podcast. And to do that, you go to wostrategies.com/newsletter. Okay, on with our episode. Welcome to the Digital Marketing Victories podcast, a monthly show where we celebrate and learn from the changemakers in digital marketing. Great digital marketers understand that people are the most challenging part of doing their jobs. And this show focuses on the people part of digital marketing wins, what tactics or skills the guests use to align people with their marketing strategy. I'm your host, Catherine Wattier-Ong, the owner of WO Strategies, LLC. We focus on increasing organic discovery for our enterprise-sized, science-focused clients. Thank you for joining me. Let's get into it and celebrate our victories. Today, we're joined by Elizabeth Linder. Elizabeth is the director of SEO at Kickpoint, where she supports clients and other digital marketers in understanding how SEO works, how it fits into an overall business strategy, and how to prioritize tactics that directly support their clients' business goals. So this episode is going to be perfect for you if you're curious about how to navigate this period of constant change in the SEO space, created by all these AI improvements and changes while maintaining your sanity. It's going to be a very timely episode. And we're going to learn about the soft skills that are going to help you maintain your career regardless of what AI does, and how to sound confident when you're talking about all of these AI changes. So Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is, very timely, very
Yeah,
timely.
the changes never stop.
Literally,
I know.
minute by minute.
So can we just kick it off by you introducing yourself a little bit and how you got into SEO?
Yeah, so I'm Elizabeth. Wow, you know how everyone says that, and then you feel like you're repeating yourself. So we all know who I am now. I got into SEO. I had went to school for marketing, and then I was just trying to find the right area that I was interested in. I think I first had an interest in event planning,
Oh,
because I'll share a little fun tidbit because that's exciting when people hear it. I grew up watching, which this is did not age well, but I grew up watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and I was like,
yeah.
I want to run this event though. I was like, I want to do that for a job. I want to pick the music. I want to pick I want to just put it on. And then as time went on, I realized I don't want to move to New York City or do something like that. And what kind of events are where I am? Nothing exciting. So
Oh,
I moved into just marketing in general, tried finding roles, and then I met someone on the internet and they said, Kickpoint's hiring for an intern. And I applied and I've been there ever since and learned, and I just liked SEO. And it was something that they asked what I was interested in, and I had started reading about it a couple months before. And yeah, just following up. And I started my own blog, which I'm not going to say anything about. It's gone now. No one look it up. And yeah, I just I fell in love. No, but I got interested in it, and it fit. And I've just been there ever since now. So it was a
that's
weird little line.
that's awesome. I also have a similar background. Like, mind you, I planned my first conference when I was 13, but I have a similar background in that I actually went to school for marketing and ended up in SEO. It's kind of interesting when you ask people these questions because I've had people that did, legal stuff. We had people that were musicians before they flipped to SEO. The journey is always really, really interesting.
Different.
Um, what the reason you're on the show is you wrote an article about imposter syndrome and SEO and AI, and I thought it was brilliant. So that's why you're on the show. So what do you think makes this moment different from the past phases of insecurity around SEO? Because as you know, SEO's got fast pace built into it anyway.
Exactly. I feel like it's different because, and I mean, depending on how long you've been in the industry, there's obviously, I think, been many of these types of changes. So this is probably one of my first major ones. But I think it just makes it different because I feel like it's impacting people's actual jobs more than it did before. Um, And there's depending on like where you work, if you're in-house at an agency, that sort of thing, depending on what pressures are put on that own workplace in terms of AI, I feel like it's just been a larger shift. It's not just a shift in our industry, it's a shift everywhere. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of what makes it different and a little more scary for people when they're trying to understand it entirely.
But what soft skills do you think people could deploy to stay a little bit more grounded as things are shifting?
I always think prioritization, that word is, I think, key. Being able to prioritize, that's going to look different for, I think, everybody. What industry you're focused on, where your expertise is, what your day-to-day job actually looks like under the umbrella of SEO. So it's a little difficult to give very kind of specific tips on building that skill. But prioritization, like that's just something you have to develop. And I know that that's not, it doesn't come easy to everybody for sure. And then adaptability, I feel like that's a new word that keeps coming out, but feeling comfortable switching paces. Because I think like building the skill of prioritization, that's been forever almost in SEO, right? Every strategy you make, like what's going to move the needle first, like always knowing how to prioritize tasks, knowing how to prioritize what you're going to work on next. But then you get ingrained in this is how I have to do it. And I'm going to go through this strategy and I'm going to do that. And then when something cuts in, it's like, oh no, what do I do? And just being okay knowing that everything is like a living and breathing document or a living and breathing plan. It can change. It's if you switch it up and change and adapt to other things, it's not going to ruin the entire strategy and just being okay with change. Um, but that's hard to do, I think. I think it's easier said than done, to feel comfortable with that.
It's a bummer that you don't have a prioritization resource because I was totally going to ask you
I
about
I will
that.
say I am genuinely like working on something because I know my team's like, we want to put like more resources out. And that's something I've been working on because I'm trying to think about it and write it as like it addresses more areas, not just an overarching like thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's especially junior staff and then people that are going to go solo and starting their own business. Both of those groups have to learn how to prioritize, right? And if you're a technical SEO, obviously, that's the other skill set where you have to like know what to let go of and what to prioritize. On the adaptability, I was actually thinking about my own background. So I actually have a couple ideas, especially if you're still employed by other people. So I worked at a startup, and I will tell you that's probably going to teach you adaptability pretty fast. And the startup happened to be in the disaster recovery space. And I will tell you the disaster recovery space will also tell you how to be very adaptable. And then the other work experience I had that definitely had me code like switching constantly was working at a PR firm doing SEO because I was working on so many different clients, people booking my calendar with like a new client I haven't even seen because it was a big global firm, right? And so you're constantly like, okay, who are we talking about? And ground me in the marketing data so I could give you all within like an hour. It's or they'll come to you because particularly in PR, they like the next shiny object a lot. And so I for a while there, for a whole year, it was just me doing all social search and analytics. I was it globally. And so they would come to you and be like, what are your opinions about whatever, Snapchat, whatever the sexy thing was? And I'm like, give me a few hours. I will
yeah.
give you. I'll give you some insight, right?
It
I am a pro Googler. I can figure this out.
That's so true. And I think like with that adaptability, you need communicate and be okay not knowing everything.
Yeah.
And there's like two sides to that where it's almost like be okay not knowing everything, but that whole fake it till you make it. I mean, don't internalize that to the point where you're just faking your whole life and lying. No, please still learn it, but you just got to go with it. Just say, you know what, I'll figure it out and feeling okay with that. And there's there's this funny story that like where someone in an interview would interview people and ask like a very complicated question. The person shouldn't have an answer and they don't want an answer, but they just want to see what they'll say.
Hmm.
And it's the people that would say, I don't know, but I can figure it out.
Right.
Those are like, and just having that attitude, like it's okay. But I can figure it out.
I think that might be the tip to any junior people listening is that a lot more of the work environment than you expect have people that are faking it until you make it. There's a lot of that going on. And there could be either smart people that eventually become experts in the subject or people just sort of faking it until that work thing gets off their desk. But either way, it happens quite a bit. So, yeah, being comfortable with that. And I was just thinking about the other work experience that, or actually wasn't work experience because I wasn't working when I was 13. But anyway, event planning will also encourage you to be adaptable. And what I realized after planning, okay, so this wasn't the first one. I planned six or something. And then I was, or maybe more than that. And then I was actually working at National 4-H Council. So this is a job. And the executive assistant to the head of the development department left kind of abruptly. And she was planning a fundraising conference for folks around the country that were going to come in and have this entire program. Anyway, she left so abruptly that nobody kind of knew how to pick up the pieces. And I was actually just was I an intern? Either an intern or like an associate level, like very junior. But everybody knew I had planned conferences though. And so they put me on it. And one of the things I realized pretty quickly is that the hotel block fell through.
Oh
Right.
my God.
So
Oh
I
my
actually
God.
managed to get a different hotel block, which was not close to where all the meeting stuff was going to be, and busing because I had to bus people in now. Um, and side note, it all went so well that they actually pulled their money together to kind of give me a tip at the end.
That's amazing.
I know, I know. So anyway, like, yeah, conference planning. Every time you plan an event, it actually doesn't matter if it's a conference. It could be wedding planning, but every time you plan an event, my modus operandi has always been like plan as much as you can, because shit's always going to hit the fan with a live event,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Always. And if you've planned to the nth degree everything you possibly can control, you'll have the space to handle this last minute chaotic thing because everything else is handled. And it's funny because I told my husband that when we planned our own wedding, and he thought I was being overly controlling, and then shit hit the fan. I forget what it was. And I was able to handle it. And he was like, "Oh, you're right." And I was like, "Hey, dude, I've been doing this for like 10,
This ain't
15
my
years by
first
now."
rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of digital marketers at the moment, or I don't know if it's a lot, I think it's a bigger number than I would expect because here we are, year three maybe of doing AI. I forget how long we've been doing this, but I would say about year three, right?
That
Ish.
sounds right.
Yeah. But I'm still seeing people that are like, I don't know how to do this AI thing, like in 2026, which I find amazing. But, um, they feel like they're behind because they didn't learn fast enough. Now, how would you help them reframe that and get started on the journey to integrate it, both into their workflow and also ranking people in AI answers? Do you love podcasts? Have you ever thought about creating your own podcast? What are you waiting for? Get started at podup.com. PodUp is one of the sponsors of this podcast, and they would love to someday sponsor yours. Starting is as easy as creating an account at podup.com today. PodUp has everything you need to run a full professional show with over 35 different tools with AI integration. Get a 7-day free trial with no credit card required and 15% off with the code Digital Marketing Victories 15. Don't have time to start a podcast? Check out podallies.com. Get a team of podcast professionals to do all of the website, social media, and editing work for your podcast. Pod Allies is an agency run by the folks who built the PodUp podcasting software. Get started with them at podallies.com. Get 15% off when you sign up for today for either PodUp or Pod Allies with the code Digital Marketing Victories 15. PodUp and Pod Allies can't wait to create with you and launch your podcast.
2 points. One, just always remember there's new people entering every and any career at any given day. There's going to be new graduates coming out in a couple months and have never done SEO in their life. They're going to start at a marketing agency. They're going to be tasked to do this. And sure, maybe they've learned what AI is and doing it, but depending on what they were doing before and they're brand new, And so they're just going to be starting too. So just because, and you have all of this other foundational knowledge and you have all of that. So it's just like you're not alone in not knowing. So just, don't panic because you have nothing but time to learn. And how much time? That's different. And depending on what's expected of you, that's different. So, um, but there's going to always be new people. And if they can do it, you can do it. Right. So that's sometimes how I just take a step back and I always think everyone's doing something for the first time in something. So it is what it is. And you can't go back. So you can only go forward. Um, but I think the second thing is do it, start learning. But I think if you have this sense of panic, it's also this reminder that there's so many clients that we still get that come to us and just the basic foundations of SEO are still not even close to being covered or touched, or key pages aren't even indexed, or the site's all these technical problems. Like there's so many that continue to come. So there's still a ton of foundational SEO work. So maybe you're not involved in all of that yet in terms of AI, but maybe that's where you can start with the workflow stuff at least and think of how can I make this auditing faster? How can I make all of this other stuff faster and better outcomes using it? And that's a good place to start. But yeah, I would never say, oh, relax, you got time. Like, no, please start. Please start
Right.
learning.
Yeah.
But, you're not, I just don't want to say you're behind because there's always going to be somebody that's more behind than you or companies that haven't even started. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so the two I have two thoughts about this. One is like the number of SEO programs here in the US, I know you're Canadian, but the number of university programs that you could join that would teach you SEO is very small. I mean, I haven't recently searched, but the last time I did it was maybe 8 programs total. Total, right? So most kids coming out of school have no clue. So that's a pipeline problem clearly. But then the other thing I happen to sort of specialize in real big websites that have never done SEO. And there are so many of them. I mean, like large portions of federal websites or state.govs have never done SEO. And I work with academic journals, and a huge chunk of them have never done SEO. Never. And you're right,
never.
with some of these ones, especially the big ones, it might not even be the AI stuff that moves the needle. You could be fixing a crawl trap, and boom, that's your like big win right up front. So, yeah. And everybody needs the SEO first for the AI stuff too. That's the other bit, right? So you got to knock out the foundation and do stuff on top. It's not like you do something totally disconnected from your SEO strategy.
Exactly.
Um,
So
yeah. Do you have a place that you direct people to actually get started to learn? I mean, for me, I think it's the I pull rank guide. Um,
yep.
but do you have any other place that you like to send people?
I like to send people to just follow Aleda Solis.
Oh, yeah.
Just just because she's just on top of it at all times. But that got I pull rank guide, Will Reynolds, Sear,
Hmm.
their newsletter and their stuff, they're always testing things. So it's just kind of nice to have a place to read about that and to get that data and just kind of see what other people are doing it just because they have the mass amounts of data and the people to do those tests too. So those are kind of my go-to favorites, but I really just try to focus on all of the industry experts, make sure I'm following them, make sure I have the newsletters up to date. And if I'm not testing things myself, I'm paying attention. But oh, wait, no, I do have a really good resource in terms of AI, but it's more on the workflow side and it's more
Mm.
on helping you do stuff better. But Brittany Muller,
Oh, yeah.
like big time, like follow her if you really also want to understand just how what AI is, what an LLM is, like how it works, that sort of stuff, how you can use it to your advantage. Her course, AI, wow, for marketers.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the link after this. We'll add it. I'm
Yeah.
blanking right now.
I think she
But
still has public guides
yeah,
too, I think, which walk you through like what an LLM is. And then as background, so Brittany worked at Moz, so she it was an SEO, but then she also moved over to Hugging Face, which is in the LLM space. So she like basically worked on an LLM. So that's her background. Um, yeah, those are great resources. And Alita, I think actually now has, you know, how she has like the getting started with SEO landing page. I think she has one for AI stuff now too. I think. Yeah,
I'm not,
we'll put those in the show notes. Um, so what tips do you have around people managing their emotions in a field where stuff can change so fast? And how do people, particularly women, maintain their confidence in a space that changes quickly like that?
oh, it's so hard. I think the first part of that, I've been struggling with this for a long time, is trying to make sure that I'm a good support because a lot of the times I'll just defer back to my own thought process and be like, it is what it is, and just letting it roll off. And not everyone can do that. And it's difficult for me to try to support people. But I think to manage your emotions is like, I'm a big advocate for letting it out, don't keep it to yourself. Don't try to like carry it all by yourself. Um, Make sure that you have somebody on your team, if you can, that you actually work with day to day, that you can go to and talk with and have regular meetings. Like our own little SEO group at Kickpoint, we meet weekly. Sometimes it's a long meeting, sometimes it's a short meeting, but it's just to catch up on everything, talk about stuff. If there's something frustrating you, if you aren't sure if you understand something correctly, want to talk it out, share a resource, that sort of thing, just so that it's touch base, just because we're all remote, so it kind of keeps us a little more connected. But then joining any other resource or group or space, like the Women in Tech SEO, they have that Slack group, amazing. It's just nice to just hear and see from others, and especially I think if we're talking about as a woman trying to maintain that confidence, the the I don't have like I'm not good enough or I don't know enough or that imposter syndrome, it's set up in society for us to make us feel like we're not good enough at anything. And, just trying to remember that, like it's not because I don't know, it's because everything's set up for that. And I think even in this industry, I know a lot of people want to say the tech industry is very male dominated. I feel lucky enough to have worked in it surrounded by women and also finding all these other women that are doing a lot of work. So making sure to just find those spaces and find those people and get support, because I think it's scary to go on LinkedIn and just get a lot of bros with there's 6 different games and if you're not doing them, you're out. Like it's
Oh
like
my God.
relax,
And just a side note, sometimes they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
E-
So that's the other
Exactly.
bit. The bro attitude does not necessarily come with accuracy necessarily. Actually inside Women in Tech SEO, they have free trainings. And I think they ran a confidence one last year. And if you're not female and listening to the show, there's a great SEO community. It's also on Slack that I would recommend. And that one, John Mueller is lurking in. So that's the other added benefit of being in there. Um, and I think they help each other out a bit. There's this unique vibe in the Women in Tech SEO that has not been replicated other places for men, so I apologize. But in that in the female group, you actually can post with a question, and oftentimes you'll get a Zoom call for free with another friend in the group to help you troubleshoot, which is delightful. And after being in the industry for 20 something years, very unique because prior to that, it was Moz communities with bros leaving nasty comments and stuff.
Exactly. And no one
Yeah.
wants to wake up to a weird LinkedIn message. So
No. Or whatever forum it is. We've all got our own little stories. So how do you help the SEOs, I'm assuming maybe on your team, uh, separate their worth as an employee from their technical skill set?
I guess at Kickpoint, we're big on work-life balance. So I think it's just having that mindset and that culture already of, separating yourself and then, just having people like in ownership say that, we don't live to work, we work to live. And that what you do at work doesn't define your worth and what you do doesn't, like we've always had that very separated. So I think a big part of it is culture, at least just kind of where I work day to day. But something I always try to tell people is, you're not saving lives. You're not a paramedic on scene that you need to know CPR. Like
Right. Yeah.
this isn't that, it's very separate and it's a specific skill that you can learn. And if you
Mhm.
don't know it yet, you can know it and you will know it eventually, but that has nothing to do with what you do after work. Like I just always try to picture and tell someone like, okay, when you close your laptop, what do you go do? What are you excited to go do? And that's what matters. So when you come to work, it's if you can't figure something out right away, so can a bunch of other people. I think it's this constant reminder. I feel like I could just go on and on and on, but it's just a refresh reminder and like being supportive. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that, and that's what's missing. So if you don't have any support at your workplace, I always recommend start by being that support and maybe seeing if it changes.
So, what soft skills could help somebody redefine their values when those hard skills are evolving? So they thought that they were going to be doing development, but now it's being outsourced to AI. This is maybe like a bigger question about the entire, your career is shifting kind of question.
That's a really hard question because I think just going back, it's like even just when you're looking, I guess, at an actual project or client, like what is the ultimate goal,
Hmm.
And that goal might have changed, but I think just you have to kind of take a step back, be able to take a step back, be able to look at something objectively. And I think it's just getting in the weeds of things sometimes where it's like, oh, I was going to do this. Now I'm in this. And okay, now my skills have to change. Now I have to do something more. Like, what's the point? I think I don't know. I feel like I've even been having this conversation where it's just sometimes it gets all too overwhelming or because you're so in the weeds of all the changes and everything. But yeah, I think it's just being able to breathe, take a step back, look at it from as a bigger picture, and then kind of refocus and reprioritize because I think it's so dependent on what what's changing and what you're doing. But I think right now a lot of that is just a lot of the fear and just anxiety is just coming from so much changing that like the old SEO role, even if that's what we're gonna like talk about, is that's completely evolved. So it's just it feels scary and but it's when you take a step back, you realize, oh, it's still the same outcome. It's still the same goal.
I mean, I think for all those people that are worried that AI is going to take their jobs, there's a few things. One, I mean, I use AI. I train my clients on using AI. So I'm like AI forward. But that said, I'm also very aware about how much they hallucinate and how sometimes the output is garbage. And I've certainly researched enough to know that that's actually a native feature of LLMs that's not going to be improved. So just sit with that for a second. The hallucination and the inaccuracy is possibly not going to. I literally saw a journal article today that was saying that when you prompt them once with information, then you come back and you add additional information, they start losing the chain of thought and the answers become crappier. So, what you need to do is actually structure your entire prompt and give them all the information on the upfront, which is great if that's the type of project you're working on. But if you have a type of project where you have to reprompt, just know that you're going to start getting garbage answers. They're going to start getting lost because this is not AGI. It's not general intelligence yet. This is clearly like Mad Libs, which is what Brittany will talk about actually all the time, is that LLMs are just like completing the next word. Like it was a missing verb and they stick the verb in there. That's actually all they're doing. So one, I'm 50-50 about whether or not this thing is going to continue, like all this using AI in our job, because you get these like the other reporting coming through that says people that try to adopt AI in their companies aren't seeing like a good response from that, right? Instead, people are getting more busy with their jobs. It's not necessarily impacting the bottom line. Anyway, so the idea that your job is going to completely disappear because of AI, at this point, I'm kind of like wishy washy about it, 50-50. Second, AI is not a human. So anything that requires a human is going to be stuff that is going to still be in the market. And that includes a crap ton of stuff that we do as an SEO. So trying to work with developers, like talking to another human, prioritizing, possibly not something that an AI could do as well as a human could, giving a presentation and training people. I still think some of that stuff could be human related, and anything that's related to what I call herding the cats, like coordinating the people and strategy, is going to be a human. It's not going to be an LLM, is all I'm saying. So if I just mentioned a whole bunch of soft skills there, I don't know if you caught those, but those are ones you should double down on. So public speaking, listening, understanding how to talking to the executive suite, knowing how to put together a persuasive presentation. I don't know what else I mentioned, but at least those, double down on those skills because those aren't going to go away. Do you have anything else in relation to that bucket that you think is going to survive? Like I know the people that were uh, spreadsheet people or just writing meta descriptions, those have gone, those jobs. But
Yeah.
what's one practice you recommend for people that are feeling overwhelmed? A very tactical, this is what to do next. I have some ideas, but I'm kind of curious what your ideas would be. You're brand new to learning this LLM thing. You're feeling a little behind. You're overwhelmed. How do they get started?
Get started is I sometimes just look up who's doing it. Like the good old Google, searching for different experts, go on LinkedIn, ask people who's someone that's trustworthy, who's someone that you trust to learn from. Um, Joining groups, like depending on where you are at your career or where you're starting, if you have access to some people or you at least have a list of people that are knowledgeable, make a list, pick one thing. Just pick one thing, read it, digest it, summarize it, and breathe. I think, like, I just don't think it's helpful to say, okay, do a course here, read this, do that, or like create a plan first, because sometimes you won't even know what that plan looks like until you know what you don't know. So I
Yeah.
think maybe the first step is like trying to find out what you're not comfortable in knowing yet, because I think that's where you have to learn and that's where you should prioritize. And I think it's easy I get a lot of people when they want to learn a new subject or not even a new subject, but they want to learn more about it or changes. They start from the very beginning because it feels comfortable, right? Because they're like, okay, let's just start from the ground zero. What is SEO? And they start up almost, and it's like, you're going to be spending so much time and you're never going to get there. And I don't know why, but that seems to be a stick. And I think, yeah, I think first just try to find out or write down what you know you don't know or uncover that and start there. And it sounds silly, I think, but I feel like a lot
Well,
of people don't know that
I think
sometimes.
you touched base on one thing I did actually want to cover, which was you understand things better when you summarize it or teach other people. So when you're learning something new, think about, even if you don't publish the blog post, think about how you're going to explain it. And I would actually really encourage either a presentation or writing because you will retain it so much better and you'll realize where you're lost when you have to try to train somebody else on it. So that was like one clear tip. The other one is that when it comes to, if you don't already have a professional development habit as an SEO, we should talk about how to create that habit because that's critical for being successful in the industry. And hopefully, you're already somebody who's passionate about it and loves constant learning. You've already been vetted for some of that stuff because if that's not your personality, just go find a different job anyway. But if you're in the space and you love constant learning, the tip is you have to actually write down your moment and block your calendar for your professional
Yes.
development, or it will not happen. And you don't need budget to go to shows particularly, but you do need to have some sort of accountability. And I'll tell you what I do because it's just me, myself, and I over here. I have a Google form where I do a check in at the beginning of the week and I outline what I'm going to tackle. And I have on there, first of all, I have personal stuff on there, spending time with my kids, but I also have, um, did I work on automation? Because my automation is my thing for this year and last year. And then at the end of the week, I ask myself, did I do it? I also ask, what did I learn at the end of the week? And that keeps me like, oh, wait, I didn't actually dig into something, right? So it might not be automation, but I highly recommend you come up with some system like that if you're by yourself, where you like put down your goal, micro goals. This week, I'm going to do X. I've blocked my calendar. At the end of the week, you're like, I did X. And mind you, on my list, there's also, I didn't make it, but you can like explain why. So you can give
Yes,
yourself an out because life happens. So, like, if your mom ends up in the hospital, like my mom did this week, you're like, okay, so that's why everything didn't happen. It's fine. I got to pass. Right. But in general, come up with an accountability. You could be accountability buddy. You could join a group that's an accountability group. You could be accountable with your coworker, but you have to think through how to make the learning stuff a habit and a block on your calendar.
that's 100% required. If you're not,
Yeah.
yeah, I really like the form like at the beginning and end, like being saying to yourself and the micro goals. I feel like I want to scream that over and over and over again. I think it's so easy to say like this year I want to do this or like this quarter or that it's so easy for it to get pushed because especially I think if you work even agency side, I mean probably in-house too, but agency side when so many other clients and so many things or a new client pops up or time shift, it's so easy to put off learning or put off working on this stuff. And sometimes I know at some people's jobs they're not given any time to learn. So
Yeah.
trying to vouch for that for yourself and communicate the importance of time for education and workloads I think I would really recommend everyone to have try to have that conversation or to put that together to some higher ups just to make sure that try, right? Like the worst they could say is no, you know? But I think I like the micro goals, like what's something actually digestible that I can do now. And I think yeah, a lot of those self-help books are kind of great for all those little hacks that you have. But yeah, writing down what you like and summarize it. Like, how would I teach this to someone else? Like, if I just read this and I had to explain it to my mom, what would I
Right. It
say?
could be a family member, and that would be great actually, because your family member is probably closer to your client,
Exactly. They don't
right?
know. They have no idea what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I mean those are like the hacks. So I highly recommend you take your bigger goal of like I don't understand this whole AI thing and just chunk it. And so you got like a calendar block on Monday, and that's when you're going to read the first half of Brittany's LLM thing because I think it's in two pieces. So like, okay, that's what I'm doing and I'm understanding that. I'm writing down whatever I don't understand. And then next Monday I'm going to read the second half. I'm going to write down whatever I don't understand. Right? Whatever that is. But yeah, if you don't have a habit of figuring out how to learn stuff in the SEO space on your own, you got to figure out how to do that. Um, so if you were to label like one soft skill that you think successful SEOs and digital marketers will need over the next 10 years, what would be the one that you tell everybody they have to double down on?
I keep going back to prioritization because even
Ah,
what you just said, right? Like
right?
take your bigger goal, even just when it comes to learning habits, when it comes to like just learning on the job, when it comes to communicating, what to communicate for. I feel like it always keeps coming back to how to prioritize things, and all the other soft skills fall into that, like chunking or doing one thing first. And why am I doing that first? Even knowing that helps with communication. Like it just, I think it's just prioritizing and knowing that has got to be a skill that you have. And if you don't have it, then it's time to get on that.
Yeah, also there's so much information on the internet and every year it just grows because there's more people publishing, more like whoever publishing. And if you can't figure out how to narrow the scope of that, you're going to waste your entire time futzing on the internet, finding information and never actually taking action.
Well, exactly. It's just you gotta, it's like when they say about working out, you just have to do one thing. Just start. Like
Just
what?
start. Yeah.
10 Nike said it best, just do it. But yeah, if it's 10 squats a day, one article a week, even like I'm even like if it's really like you're new to this or anything, just like one, just start with one. And but yeah, you have to empathy for yourself. I
Yeah.
think, just take it easy. We're all in this together. We're all riding this wave. you're not alone in it. It's just we're all at different stages. And I just think it's like finding that community and trying to prioritize as best you can with what makes sense based on your actual workload. Like, what are you working on? What clients, what industry, what like start there? Because what even you said earlier about if this affects your industry or client more, if you were working with e-commerce clients or local SEO or anything like that, focus on the AI stuff that hits that first and
Right.
worry
Because,
about
like,
that.
honestly, if you work in pharma, I don't even know if you can do any of this stuff. Pharma is so highly regulated that it's possible that there's not much you could do because it all has to come along with that waiver saying this med might kill you, whatever, that kind of thing. So I mean, there's some industries where you just don't have flexibility, right? And it's
No.
possible that you just can't do anything. And then there's other ones like the federal government where it's going to move so slow that it impacts your strategy, right? And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're not going to still do some stuff, but yeah, like one of my clients is actually in a space where AI likes to reference fresh stuff. Do they have any strategy or ability to pivot to update their content at that kind of pace? This
Oh,
particular one,
never.
no. They have like a new report that comes, but they can't like go back and massage their old stuff and make it fresh. It's not part of their workflow, right? So we just reduced expectations across the board. I was like, okay, well, we're going to do what we can do, but just know that after this stuff ages a certain amount of months, you possibly are going to lose the LLM traffic. And he was like, okay, it is what it is. I'm like, exactly. you know,
Education,
right?
communication, it's just, and yeah,
Yeah.
see, it's not all a be all end all. Everyone's gonna die. Oh my God, it's over. Uh, every industry is impacted differently. Your workload's different. Knowing what you need to know and knowing what you don't know, and do not die on every hill. Don't
No,
just, yeah.
definitely not. So this has been great. Do you have any additional resources you want to share that you haven't talked about already?
It was pretty much Brittany Muller's. I made note to talk about her actual AI for marketers course, and I remembered to bring that up. So that's a
There you
big
go.
one. That's a really big one. I think it really helped with just like getting in the space, and then you get to join this awesome community after as well, which is super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
And everyone, gets to talk about their projects, their workflows. They all help each other. There's ongoing kind of like hackathons that they call them, where you get to work on things together and ask questions. And I just think it's a way to join a community that's directly about learning this stuff. So um, I would strongly recommend just to feel more comfortable in it. That's a great course. I took it myself, so I'm going to vouch for it. And this is not sponsored at all. This is just me loving it. So
Well, and when you come up with that prioritization resource, you're going to let me
yes,
know. Yeah.
absolutely.
So how can people learn more about you?
I am unreliable. No, I'm gonna work on being more reliable online, but I'm in the Women in Tech SEO group, Slack. I'm there. LinkedIn, I'm on it all the time, checking. So I've been trying to make some kind of TikTok and Instagram, Liz Linder SEO. I have no promises there on the quality of that content, but if you enjoy watching those things, you can follow me there. But I think if you ever want to talk or have some support and rant about changes, and if you're feeling behind, I'd say message me on LinkedIn or meet me in the Women in Tech SEO Slack group.
Awesome. That was great. So thanks for joining me today. It's been great.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. To find out more about the podcast and what we're up to, go to digitalmarketingvictories.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, comment, and share the podcast, please. I'm always looking for new ideas, topics, and guests. Email us at digitalmarketingvictories@gmail.com or DM us on Twitter at DMVictories. Thanks for listening.